It was July 2009 when we travelled to the remote country of Papua New Guinea. PNG is a land of huge cultural, geographical and biological diversity. Thousands of communities are spread across this vast nation, and over 800 different languages are spoken here, accounting for 1/5 of all world languages. PNG's enormously rich and varied animal and plant life means that it's one of only 17 countries to be considered by scientists as a land of mega diversity. Yet for all the variety that's found here, the 7 million people that live in Papua New Guinea are united by one thing. PNG's motto is unity in diversity, and nowhere is this more apt than in the sporting sphere. Although organised and professional sport may still be in its infancy, we discovered that Papua New Guinea is a sports-mad nation. In the international arena, PNG athletes have enjoyed limited success, but when they do, it becomes a source of huge national pride. Weightlifter Dika Toua remains one of Papua New Guinea's most celebrated athletes, and back in 2009, we were keen to find out more about her.
Every time I come back from my trips or my travel overseas or my international events, when I come back, I see people and I hear people are very proud of me being, putting PNG on the world map. When they see me around in town, they just scream out my name, saying Dika Toua, Dika Toua. That's how I feel, how PNG is proud of me,
When we met up with her in 2009, Dika was 25 years old. She was Oceania's #1 ranked weightlifter in the 53 kilogram division and amongst the top 10 in the world. She'd competed at the Olympic Games in Sydney, Athens and Beijing, with her best performance coming at the 2004 Games in Greece, where she finished 6th. It was Dika's uncle Douglas who was the driving force behind her career.
Dika is a household name now. Everyone in Papua New Guinea knows about Dika, and if you ask anyone about weightlifting, they'll say, oh, it's Dika Toua. So she's an idol now.
Rita Kari was an up-and-coming weightlifter and a training partner of Dika at this time.
Ever since I've seen sports models like Dika, I feel like following her footsteps in the later years ahead of it, to become like her, train more harder, and achieve my dreams in the future.
Hailing from the village of Hanuabada in the heart of Port Moresby, PNG's capital city, Dika was a very sporty child and took up weightlifting at the age of 10.
My auntie, my dad's sister, real sister, was a weightlifter. My grandfather, my mom's dad, was the first Papua New Guinean to play with Europeans as a rugby league player. So then my sisters, my brothers, everybody in the families, we all involved in sports. So sports has become one of our habits.
During her early teens, Dika would spend countless hours in this gym, both before and after school.
I think it's in Dika's nature to be a very good athlete, because at stages when there was no one training, she used to come alone and just do her workouts on her own. And most athletes wouldn't do training on their own. They would hang around, and if there was about 2 or 3 of them, then they'd do their workouts. But with Dika, she was really motivated to train on her own, do her workouts, and then do her other duties in the house.
By the age of 16, Dika's hard work saw her secure a place at the 2000 Sydney Olympics. Those games were the first in which women's weightlifting had been included at the Olympics. The opening event in the programme was the 48 kilogram division, and Dika was the first athlete out onto the stage, thereby assuring her of a small piece of sporting history. Dika Toua, the first woman to lift a weight at the Olympic Games.
When I got there, I was so excited because I was young and but didn't know anything about the Olympic Games, and that was my first time to have a feel of what the experience is all about and what the Olympic Games was all about. So yeah, being the first woman on the platform, I was nervous a bit, but then got over it, yeah, and then competed, yeah.
4 years later, in Athens, Dika carried her country's flag at the opening ceremony and came close to a medal with a 6th place finish. She didn't improve on that performance in Beijing as her preparations for the Olympics were hampered somewhat by injury and giving birth. Following Beijing, Dika took the year off to be with her young son.
I thought that I should spend some time with him, with my partner and my family as well. But at the moment, my main goal is the Commonwealth Games in India. And then after that, I'll see what I can do after that. But I think I can go step by step, not moving, 2 steps ahead. Yeah. So, yeah, I'll think of the 4th Olympics after the Commonwealth Games.
However, Dika didn't compete at the 2010 Commonwealth Games in India. Shortly after we filmed with her, she fell pregnant with her 2nd child. When we met her, we discovered just how close-knit Dika's family was. Back then, she lived with her parents, grandparents, 2 sisters, 2 brothers, and her husband and child.
My family's been my strength in my sporting career and my life, because they've been a great support to me, and they mean a lot to me in terms of living and backing me up in my sporting career. They've been my strength all this time. So without them, I don't think I have had gone this far.
Dika combined her duties as a mother, wife and athlete with a job in the marketing department of one of PNG's leading companies. In Papua New Guinea, the lack of money in sports means that it's common for the country's top sportsmen and women to hold down full-time jobs.
We find it really difficult to maintain our equipment, and it's really hard to get sponsorship and help from business houses, because every time we do a trip, we need about more than 20 grand to send the team away, and we spend money on that, and then they can't give us extra to maintain our gym.
Away from weightlifting and her many other duties, we discovered that a big passion in Dika's life was netball. Every weekend, games were played in her village. Courts were drawn on the road and the action was virtually non-stop from dawn till dusk. The games were not only fiercely contested encounters, but they also gave the women of the village the chance to socialise. In PNG, society is traditionally male-dominated. In fact, so entrenched is the subjugation of women here that down through the generations they've simply accepted it as a fait accompli.
Part of our tradition has pulled a lot of ladies back, and we've tried to move 1 step ahead of that. Women have seen me as a role model in this country. They've all looked up to me and wanting to be like me, not only to be a weightlifter, they just want to be at the top level or to get, something out of themselves.
At London 2012, Dika Toua competed at her 4th Olympics, where she finished 14th. She said that they'll be her last Olympics, and she plans to bow out of the sport at the 2015 Pacific Games, which will be held here in Port Moresby. Those games in front of her adoring home fans will be the perfect place for the curtain to come down on an inspirational career.
Weightlifting means a lot to me, even though we go through a lot of pain and suffering and struggling and dedication. Weightlifting sort of become my life. Yeah, so I can't live without it. And I'm thinking of if I then get to retire, I might take up coaching or take up some executive jobs just within weightlifting. Yeah, because I don't want to leave it.